Thank you for watching Paulus Goes NARVA. If you missed last episode, it's still on my Patreon channel. Last time I took you from my hometown to the Elbe Bridge in Germany. This episode I will take it from there all the way across Germany north to the peninsula of Rügen. This morning I had a slow start. It's just past 7 and everything is still wet. The sun is making a strong effort to break through, but despite its promising appearance, I doubt if it will last long. While breaking up camp, I noticed that my packing routine is not fully established yet. Some things are not in a convenient place on my motorcycle and I decide to do a few things differently. Sometimes, even if you plan everything in advance, you realize in practice it will need some adjustment. My elderly neighbors offer me another cup of coffee, and after finishing it, they both come out of their caravan to witness my departure. Behind his thick glasses, I sense a hint of nostalgia in the eyes of the old man. With his hands on his hips and wearing his two high brown corduroy pants, he watches my motor purr away. Auf Wiedersehen, I shout, and I wave as I leave the campsite. Once on the road again, it seems that the sun is winning its never-ending battle against the clouds. Although it's quite windy, it remains dry throughout the morning. I find a nice spot to have lunch and do a check around my motorcycle. I do this quite often, just looking at it and checking various things. Testing if everything is still tight and not too loose. And yesterday, during the intense highway use, my Guzzi wanted to mist away some oil through his crankcase ventilation. Today it has stayed completely dry. Perhaps I had poured a little too much oil into the engine during the oil change for this journey. At higher revs, my Guzzi throws that surplus out without mercy. The result is a very oily underside and a perfectly lubricated center stand. But today everything has remained dry and oil free, and the oil level must be at working level. I notice that I'm entering the former GDR, that's Eastern Germany. The roads become worse and the villages become more quaint. While the agricultural hinterland in the west is truly modern, here I feel like I'm a century back in time. Actually, that red brick quaintness with those bumpy roads is quite beautiful. Unlike Rostock, which with its old Soviet architecture and neglect gave me the feeling of being in a large inhabited urbex location. My final destination is Prora, on the island of Rügen, and I can feel that I'm very close to the Baltic seas now. The wind is truly wild and the skies are occasionally ink black, releasing their opaque curtains of rain in the distance. Seagulls scream and I can occasionally hear the sea above the wind noise in my helmet, and sometimes with a strong gust of wind the cloud cover breaks and the sun surprises me again with its warm positivity. I want to go to the beach to take some photos and find a suited spot. I'm somewhere between Pero and Zingst on the northern coast of Germany, and it's downright stormy now. I park my motorcycle on a sandy path parallel to the coast. All trees point their crowns inland, fully understandable with a relentless wind. Does the wind have a name here too, like Mistral, Föhn or Sirocco? When I take pictures on the beach, I'm almost sandblasted. Damn, this wind is unbearable, the sand is throwing up a mist. Once back at my motorcycle behind the dunes, it suddenly starts pouring. Unfortunately, I'm relatively dry under the dense vegetation. I didn't even get a chance to put on my rain gear. And as quickly as the rain shower hit me, it clears up again, and my wet pants dry quickly with this wind in the summer sun. I ride over the L21 over the bridge between Bodstedter Bodden and Barther Bodden, two inland waters with an open connection to the Baltic Sea. I do love bridges very much, and I'm treated to an object that undoubtedly makes me stop.
Darling, I'll become a nervous wreck every time you pull me in that haystack. You wanna make love and rock and roll, but it only leaves me with some freaking cold.
I do love bridges very much and I'm treated to an object that undoubtedly makes me stop. Parallel to my car bridge, there's the Meinigenbrücke, a railway bridge dating from 1910, and it has a rotating section to let ships pass. I kick out the jiffy of the Guzzi on the other side of the road. I take off my helmet and hang my riding glasses on the handlebars. And armed with my camera, I cross the busy street. Suddenly, I hear something rattling behind me and see my goggles blowing across the street. I look left, I look right, and I look back at my glasses. Let a few cars pass and I look left and right again and look at the pile of shards that used to be my goggles. Okay, from now on I only can wear my sunglasses, so the sun has to shine. It's not far to Prora now. At Stralsund, across the beautiful Rügenbrücke, which is quite exciting with this wind. Unfortunately, there's no place to stop, as the views here are fantastic. And the bridge itself is quite an architectural masterpiece. The last kilometers to the campsite were painfully slow. Many strange tourist villages with slow moving traffic and a few detours made the last kilometers very tiring. On the campsite just behind Prora, I'm warmly welcomed by a campsite employee who immediately assigns me to a nice spot. He even comes back with an orange hard plastic disc about 15 centimeters in diameter to put under my jiffy. Here, think of us during the rest of your vacation. He laughs at me and he knows he's right. It's around 4 o'clock when I stroll along the beach at Prora. Herr Hitler was right when he had his Kraft durch Freude, or strength through joy, built this holiday resort. It is truly one of the most beautiful beaches on the Baltic seas. Unfortunately, nobody had the opportunity to spend their vacation here for a long time.
Come on, baby, put some work in on that farm.
Construction began in 1938, and when it was almost finished, the Russians invaded. They used it as barracks for some time, until the reunification of the two Germanies. After that, it fell into disrepair. I hope to explore a bit of it as an urbex adventure, but some wealthy developers have already brought large parts of the decayed glory back to life. Hotels, apartments, studios, all brand new in the old buildings with a fresh coat of paint. And probably outrageously expensive. At some point, halfway through the complex, there are still parts of decayed buildings to be found. It doesn't turn into a real urban expedition, and I am half an hour too late for the nearby museum, and also very hungry too.
Come on, baby, put some work in on that farm. You give me hay fever, running up and down my nose. You give me hay fever, baby, I got my eyes good closed.
So I start my walk back to the campsite. Outside on the terrace I order food, but the skies take on threatening forms again, and soon it starts to drizzle. Everyone sitting outside is brought inside by the restaurant staff, and people are seated as best as possible so that everybody can enjoy their meal indoors. It creates a cozy atmosphere, and I'm placed at a table with high stools. 5 minutes later, a sporty blonde young lady is placed at my table, and it seems like a dating show. She rode all the way here on a bicycle.
I love you, baby, I really do.
I have a view of the kitchen door, and when it's open, I see one of the waitresses doing a few dance steps. She sees that I've noticed her and smilingly twirls before making an elegant bow with her crossed legs. Service with a smile.